Well, Merry Christmas, asswipes. I'm finally back. Let's talk about Leah. Now, I acknowledge that I have been writing this video on and off for give or take the last 2 years. And given my consistent upload schedule, yeah, I'll take my beating for that in the comments.
I bequeath another boot to the head. And one more for the whip.
I figured it was time to finally revisit the video that I've been consistently picking up and putting down again. It's not even like I have anything against Leah. It's more of I just haven't found the interest to do this video. The context to it is that I discovered 10 Things I Hate About You a few years ago when doom scrolling on Facebook. No, not that one. No, similar, but still wrong. Alright, I feel like this joke has gone on long enough. And there's nothing particularly wrong with the song. It's not well written, I don't think. It's earworm as hell, but I'll get into that. And it led me down the rabbit hole of discovering her other big hit, Twinkle Twinkle, which I hate throwing around the word cringe because I feel like it's a very dismissive opinion and often used to just insult rather than actually speak to a mindset, but I feel like it's also the most accurate way to describe my genuine first viewing of this song. But again, I'm going to get into all that. Originally, this was going to be a review of 10 Things and Twinkle Twinkle, and then a few months later, I ended up getting my playlist stuck on her other music, trying to look at a retrospective, and ended up looping all of her greatest hits, if you can call them that. And so it was going to be a Leah retrospective in and of itself. Well, now it's been 2 years, and as of November, she just dropped a brand new album. So, where are we going to go with that? Well, let's sit down and find out. This is Genius by Leah. The Kanye definition of the word, I suppose. Coming on first is Who, and you probably don't know who Leah is unless you are religiously on TikTok, where she got popular from. Born on September 9th, 1992 to a loving family, Leah was born and raised in Los Angeles, California, where her and her family owned a local radio station. She would later move to New York to further pursue her career in music. If you're thinking to yourself, that sounded straight off of Wikipedia, it more or less was. There's almost nothing about her besides the incidents from her music that she's discussed in interviews. There really isn't much context, and she definitely keeps her personal and professional life separate, which is something I can respect for a musician in the modern age. I would also like to throw onto this that Google kept confusing Leah for the musician for a contestant on the popular show Love Island named Leah B.
That's rough, buddy.
You as an established musician are getting outsearched on Google by a contestant on a reality show. That's gotta sting a little. That's like setting yourself up as a new lawyer. You just passed the bar, you're getting yourself set up, and all of a sudden you find out you share a name as a contestant on Hell's Kitchen.
Come here, you. If I tell you to get out there, I don't give a fuck if you got a thong up your fat crack. Get out there!
Like, that's just unfortunate timing. Talking a little bit about her establishing hits, she went viral around 2021 with the hit song 10 Things I Hate About You. And to its credit, it didn't actually perform badly, and it was popular on TikTok, from what I understand. I don't actually use the app. As a result, the song sort of has that TikTok variant to it, where it has that pseudo-viral to it. Weird to explain, but essentially, only a portion of the song is used, and that's the part that trends, so not the whole song tends to get listened to. And listening to it, it's generic, to say the least. It earworms really easily, so I will say that. It is catchy, and I cannot deny that. I would be lying if I were to. What isn't good is the lyrics. It's very middle school, if that makes sense.
You gross me out. Now I've got the
Okay.
It's kind of hard to take it seriously on the grounds that the song very much feels like what you would hear from a 6th or 7th grader that got cheated on in the cafeteria and they're complaining about it to their friends. I sort of have the same qualm with Twinkle Twinkle in that the difference is this one's not particularly catchy and it's just uncomfortable to listen to.
I can't believe that I let you come inside
Ew.
my room.
Oh, woof. That was awful. What the fuck?
Jeez, you open your mouth for a joke once and that's what you come up with?
That's messed up, man.
So, to say the least, a lot of her songs do have that sort of humor. She's very to the point. Getting into Genius, her most recent album, it was met criticism, it looks like. Seems to have performed decently, though it doesn't seem to be going viral by any means. So, what's good or bad about it? Well, why don't we sit down and take a look at it. Unlike normal, where I like to discuss what I feel about the album before listening to it, this time I forgot to do so. So I can't really give you a before perspective of where I was standing before recording this video. I can tell you that I noticed she made a new album and went, oh, okay, well, that gives me something to work with. Right off the bat, both with lyrics and the way it's sung, it almost sounds like AI. I can't prove she used any AI, and this is not an accusation, but if you listen to it, especially with the lyrics and how it's sung at the beginning, you can kind of hear it.
I forgot to eat breakfast. I feel a bit reckless. My body's restless.
Again, this is not an accusation, and I'm not saying she did use AI, but I am proceeding with this with a little bit of hesitance on that ground. That said, Meltdown is pretty much exactly what it is. She's going through a rough patch, and she's going off the rails. If you've heard any other Lee Cates song, specifically things like F You Anthem, I'm so sorry, you have heard this song before. A lot of her music tends to be I'm on the verge of a mental breakdown or I'm in a mental breakdown. You've heard the song once, you've heard it a million times. All things considered, for leading an album, it's a safe bet.
Not to be dramatic, when you left it was dramatic.
I hate everything about you. Why do I love you?
I can't tell if this is incredibly self-aware or not at all self-aware. It's at least kind of catchy once it gets going. I'm sorry I'm being dramatic, but I can't help being dramatic. It's one of those sorry not sorry pieces. Again, if you've heard her other music, it's very similar. It's that sort of self-depreciation that kind of gets repetitive. As for the song itself, it mostly goes into erratic behavior. She's off with the guy, so she's wearing another dude's clothes, sending him pictures in his bed. She wants to hate him, but she can't. Actual lyrics, by the way. This is not me speculating or junking on her.
You spent your whole night out on airplane mode, so I spent my whole night in a stranger's clothes. I'm kinda erratic cause I don't do well with sadness, so I might have sent a picture of me lying on his mattress to send you in a panic.
Again, it's very middle school. Watch an episode of Euphoria. You've heard this song.
That's two truths and a lie, just one because he's fine.
Alright, so this is when you kind of get some context of what's going on, and I'll break it down a little further in the video if you're not picking up on it. Essentially, her friend throws a party, and whoopsie daisy, I forgot to invite you, but I did invite your man. Lee Cates shows up to the party, and surprise, surprise, she finds her boyfriend in the closet with the friend. He's not the friends type, but she just wanted him because she's Lee Cates. I can't prove it, but I kind of get the vibe that our narrator is not the most reliable source. It also kind of bothered my ears, weirdly enough. I don't quite understand what the sound was in that. I don't know if it was my earbuds at the moment, but it was not pleasant to listen to either. So it didn't have a graceful sound, and again, you kind of get the vibe that maybe there's a bit more to this, but essentially what's going on is that she walked into the party she wasn't invited to on her friend in the closet with her boyfriend, and you can use your imagination on the rest.
Never fuck a celebrity.
Isn't that just Ian after half of his games? Fuck you, asshole. Allegedly, her scumbag ex isn't over her and is mad that she's moved on. She just wants to carry on with her life, but you took the time to not only write the song, but also emphasize, told my friend you're small.
Oh, hey, by the way, might have told a couple friends you're small.
It's kind of the same logic that Sabrina Carpenter had with the song Skin. Yeah, I'll get into that video eventually, but you write a song talking about how something doesn't bother you. A good rule of thumb is that if you felt the necessary to take the time to respond, chances are it probably bothers you. So, I can't prove that she's lying and she's unbothered, but the context from the rest of the album, I kind of suggest isn't. Especially since this is only the fourth song in the album. So, take what she says with a grain of salt. Again, I do not feel our narrator is the most reliable source of information. I thought this song was going to be a bit of a tribute to her favorite book or classic movie. Never judge a book by its cover. She's essentially falling down the rabbit hole of non-serious relationships, backstabbing friends, cheating bums. Not that I'm in any room to give a celebrity advice, nor is she actually watching this video, but perhaps you should reevaluate the people you surround yourself with. It's not even a jab or an insult. This is genuine. From all of your music and all of your performances, it kind of suggests that your friends are sort of backstabbers and cheaters and losers, and you don't even sound like you're having a good time at this point. You sound miserable in most of your songs. Perhaps I received this advice years ago that you reflect the people that you surround yourself with. That said, perhaps you should consider looking towards an audience that will support you in the growth in places you would like to go, rather than the people that are going to drag you into these situationships. Again, I'm no one to talk, but so take what I say with a grain of salt. It's just genuine advice. That said, the song's not very good. I'll also emphasize it's not very memorable. I listened to it like 3 times and I couldn't tell you even the chorus, really. It kind of has a very similar vibe to Pillow Talk, if that makes sense, in that it really wasn't memorable and you kind of listened to it because it was there, not to listen to it.
Thought about you in like a million.
She's not quite over her ex. She's fine till she starts thinking about him. It kind of just cements my thoughts on Salty, if I'm being honest. Live footage of me listening to this album. It's super repetitive, by the way. Once again, it's about being mad about the former friend and now ex, seeing photos of them together and just feeling miserable. But, although not the same context, I kind of get where she's coming from. Scrolling on Instagram or Facebook and you see photos of old friends vibing with mutuals that that kind of hurts. I get it. It's not a pleasant thing, even when you're not thinking about it. It sort of just brings those feelings back to you. I kind of understand where you're coming from on that foot, and I'm willing to give you a pass on this one, because that, no matter how long ago it is, when you see that from mutuals especially, it still kind of hurts a little. It kind of brings back that sting. That said, I can relate to this song significantly. I will give this one a pass.
Everybody gets one.
Kind of has the same vibes as the Black Eyed Peas did years ago. It's sort of suggesting that she's a fun time, wink wink. If you've heard any sort of club song, you've heard this. That said, it is a generic club song, and it's harmless. I don't think I would go out of my way to listen to it again, but I also wouldn't leave a party or skip the station if it were to come on the radio. It's just fine. And admittedly, where this album has been taking a lot of L's in my opinion, a win is a win.
I know it's fucked up, but sometimes
I got a fun game for us to play. Let's take a shot every time in this album that Lee Kate mentions her ex-boyfriend or ex-best friend. You'll be drunk off your ass in 10 minutes. So in this song, it's sort of playing around with her emotions. She's simultaneously over her ex and not over her ex. And she's juggling her emotions about, I'm sad I don't miss you, but I also do miss you, and you're clearly thinking about him. What is this?
Shut the fuck up.
you just since but it's been 2 years.
I'm sorry, 2 years? You're writing this album and it's been 2 years? What the Have you been sitting in an empty room for 2 years? What the fuck? Okay, I can't... I wouldn't normally critique this hard on someone's emotions, but good God. You've had 2 years to write an album and this is what you came up with? The entire album about a 2-year-old breakup? And furthermore, that's 2 years since she wrote it, by the way. We don't even know how long it took her to actually record and edit the song. So, it's been minimum 2 years. Good Christ, at this point, she could very well be talking about the same loser from 10 Things I Hate About You. I'm sorry, but... What are we doing?
I'm a cat, throw it back.
I don't know quite how to describe this. Picture if espresso was somehow less subtle. It's got that keep you up all night, you'll be coming back for more shtick, but it kind of skips using the espresso stuff as a filter and gets straight to the point. I'm just kind of imagining Sabrina Carpenter skipping over all the wordplay and jokes and just...
We're bang, okay?
Like a car that's gonna crash, it's spinning way too fast.
Yes, you are. Stupid is... She doesn't... She calls her ex. Or at least I think it's implied... I don't know if it's she wants to call her ex and ends up having an affair with him, or if she wants to call him and just sort of overlook everything that happened. But it's essentially calling him it's essentially a booty call. God, Lee, what are you doing? I think this is supposed to be progression and moving on. She's flirting with a guy, and it doesn't take a genius to realize she's flirting with the dude. I don't know, guys are not usually known for picking up on hints. I know I'm stereotyping a bit there, but come on now. Alright, so now that we got the meat and potatoes out of the way, let's overlook the album in and of itself, because there's quite a bit to look at here. First of all, I'm going to go into the sound because I think that's going to be a lot quicker. That said, it very much has a Black Eyed Peas Chainsmoker vibe to it. There's a little bit of Olivia Rodrigo in there, but only on a couple of songs. That said, it's there's probably one or two songs that if they came on the radio, I wouldn't turn my nose to by any means. But I also don't think that makes them good, and I don't think that justifies the album either. Let me run down the album real quick, and at least a summary of what seems to have happened. 2 years ago, presumably when Lee K was on tour, her friend threw a party that she tried to keep hush-hush from Lee K, but she invited her boyfriend to go to this party. Now, Lee Kate got wind of everything going on and proceeded to crash the party to catch them on what was going on because she already had an aching suspicion of what was happening. Who, what, when, where, why, I couldn't tell you. Probably connected to one of her other songs because she has quite a few songs about cheating bastards. So, she goes to the party and finds the closet that they're in and confronts them in the act, discovering that her best friend was screwing the guy that wasn't even her type. She wasn't actually into him. She wanted Lee Kate's man to want Lee Kate's man. I can't say I fully get the logic there, but I suppose I've heard crazier theories, so fuck it, we ball. And it's kind of fucked up Lee Kate's sense in that somebody she called a close friend stabbed her in the back, and somebody that she had grown really close to and relationship-wise had betrayed her trust. So now she's kind of screwing around, trying to get it out of her system, but she really can't get it out of her head. That is all information given to us in the album, by the way. And the entire album is about this situation. I understand telling the story to some degree from your perspective, and I think there was a better way to approach it. I think that it kind of invalidated your point that you kept going back and forth between I'm over him, I'm not over him, I miss him, I hate him. It made things weird. I think a good way to do it would have been to reapproach the album to having a song or two discussing the betrayal and the chain of events. Believe it or not, leave two truths and a lie. I think that song gave the context you needed, but I think that should have been the approach to the album, despite the song itself not being fantastic. Maybe a better theme than two truths and a lie. Maybe Lion Son of a Bitch? That would have been entertaining. That said, I think playing around with the 7 stages of grief probably would have been a really interesting album take. It's giving her a lot of credit as a songwriter, and to its credit, the writing in this is definitely significantly better than Twinkle Twinkle, so perhaps 2 years of wisdom was good to her. Maybe she got a better writing team. I couldn't really tell you on that foot, but nonetheless, it's being very generous as a writer, but I think it could have showed a lot of potential having the album as a dive into her mentality going through the 7 stages of grief. And you see a little bit of that grievingness still, trying to move on and go into hookups and relationships, and she just can't get over the ex or her friends. I think you had a bit of potential here for an interesting album, but you failed on delivery. This entire album was nothing you haven't heard before. Like I said, if you've listened to the Chainsmokers, if you've listened to the Black Eyed Peas, you've heard pretty much everything on this album. This is just Lee Kate's perspective. Hell, if you've listened to Olivia Rodrigo, you've heard a lot of this. That said, realistically, I would say that my review rating and my personal rating stand. This album I would give a 1 out of 10. And I do not fully recommend. I would also say perspective-wise, I think Genius was an odd choice for naming the album on that one. I really don't think that tied into anything connected to the album. I think if you were to do anything like that, it should have actually been Two Truths and a Lie. So I think if you actually reversed that and made Two Truths and a Lie the album name, you probably would have had a much more telling album title, but I digress.
Turn this shit up! Yeah.
I had no proper way to actually end this video. I didn't, make a sketch or anything. So, yeah, here's my bearded dragon helping me edit the video. He's on cricket patrol right now. He's making sure no crickets interrupt the video process. I think he's doing a damn good job. His name is Bolus.